Like, even when I was playing in the band, I came home, I was in my 20s, like 22 or 23. I came home and I laid down in bed from a gig, and something laid down next to me,
Yeah.
and this happened like 3 or 4 times, and I'd roll over to see what was there, and I'd see the pillow just squish down and the whole bed would move, and like the 5th time I rolled over to see what was there, and whatever was there picked up the blanket that I had on top of me and brought it up to the ceiling, and it shook it over top of me, and then it dropped it on top of me. And then for 2 years after that, I slept on the couch downstairs because I was scared. Like, you wouldn't believe it.
Welcome to The Reluctant Medium, where we cover the gamut of out there conversations. With an open mind and a curious heart, we want to talk about it all. From psychic phenomena and energy medicine to beings from other star systems and out-of-body experiences. You'll find a great balance between grounded science-backed topics and others that science hasn't quite caught up to yet. I'm your host, Dr. Maria Rothenburger, a psychotherapist by trade and a reluctant spirit baby communicator. And hey, even though I'm a medium, I'm not buying everything folks are selling. I just have a voracious appetite to know more about what I call the world of the weird. Join us on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube at The Reluctant Medium. I'll see you there. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reluctant Medium podcast. I'm Dr. Maria Rothenburger, your host for the podcast, and we've got a fellow medium here today, but he's not reluctant, apparently. Daniel Jackson, welcome. Welcome, my
Yes,
friend.
I am not reluctant by any means. But if that's your thing, if that's your stick, you go ahead with it. But
It's
me,
my
not
shtick.
so much. I'm too blunt to be that kind of reluctant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to talk about you, unlike me, you are someone who never doesn't see spirit, you like to
Ever.
say, right? Especially when
Like,
you started when you were young. Yeah.
yeah, ever since I was 3 years old, I've seen them. But my whole family was seeing them. We lived in New Jersey, as we were just discussing a little bit, and I lived right next to the Delaware River. And this is where there was a park there with a Hessian spot, and they had a little hospital there right in our town. But a lot of people in that area were experiencing things as well as we were. But to the point, like when my sister was getting ready for school one morning, and my mom was helping her to get ready, and they stood in front of a full-length mirror. And when they did, there was another woman standing in it in a colonial outfit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
those types of things. Or glasses moving, and, like, my brothers and I were downstairs watching TV, and upstairs, the living room radio stereo system turned on, and so my brother sent us upstairs to turn it off, and we did. We
Wow.
ran upstairs and turned it off. Or, like, when I remember I had my sister's stereo system upstairs in her room turned on, but it was playing records, but the crazy part for me was it was switching records. So it would take a record off, back in the '70s, you had to put that record on a post, so it would take a record off and put another one on, and me and my brother said, "You guys gotta go upstairs and turn it off," so
Oh my
we ran
gosh.
upstairs and turned it off, and then we're jumping downstairs to get back downstairs, hoping, in my view, of that my brother would, make me feel safe, but he acted like nothing ever happened by the time I got back.
Oh, fascinating. Okay,
Yeah.
so your entire family experienced these things, but it was just like, oh, or was there fear?
No, there was no fear. I didn't
Oh,
feel
good.
any fear as a child because my parents and my brothers and sister made me feel like, "Don't worry about it, everything's okay," because they never really did anything that was harmful towards us,
Okay.
anything like that. It was just they were doing what most spirit do. They got our
Yeah.
attention.
Now I see things in my mind's eye. Do you see things with your physical eyes?
Yes, I see them walking around. I see them sometimes I'll see full figures walking around. Sometimes I'll see what you would see outside in the summertime where you see, like, a heat signature coming off the road. I'd
Yes.
see that right in the middle of the house. But, yeah, I see like, when I do close-up readings for people, I can turn them ar I don't actually have to just turn them around, but I can look inside of them, and I can see their soul inside of them.
Oh my
It
gosh.
doesn't look like them, though. It looks like you the last time you were here. That's all.
It looked like me the last time I was here.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry, the last time even the previous time from this one, you were a woman.
Oh, I was?
Yeah,
I've
but there's been 7 times that you've been a man. So as I'm moving my head like that, I'm asking questions, my guides physically touch my face for yes and no answers. So
Oh, that's
so
so
it happens
cool.
that it happens that fast. So but then they also put information into my mind, and that even just changed recently too. Like in the beginning, they would put information in my mind like 5% of my day. And as of just a couple of days ago, now it's 93%. It has progressed that
Wow.
much.
So
Yeah.
so am I down for a reading today? Whoa.
Well, you can ask whatever question you want, and I will get the answer.
Awesome.
But as I always tell everybody, people come to me because they want an answer from God, and I get the answer.
Uh-huh.
But they don't always like that answer because they don't like the truth. That's not my problem.
Oh, no, we're good with truth over here. We're good with
Yeah,
truth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I communicate with archangels, not men with wings and shields by any means. They are not that. They don't look like that. They don't look like a man with wings and a shield and a sword. Michael does not look like that. Michael is not that. Michael does. He will put out this purple light and stuff like that to make the regular Joe, average Joe, feel secure about that. But if the average Joe actually saw what Michael looked like, or Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, these other names, these are just names that we give them that we can recognize them by, but that's not their
Mm.
real names because we can't pronounce their real names because we have a voice box and they communicate this way.
Oh, I'm
But if you
so
actually
glad you
saw what
said
they
that.
look like, yeah, if you saw what they look like, you'd run. You'd think monster.
Oh,
But I know what
interesting.
they are and what they do and what they do for me and do for everyone else. But yeah, that's who I communicate
Are
with.
you
And
an artist by chance? Are you able to draw them?
no, but
I
I can tell
often
you what I can absolutely tell you what they look like.
I've often wished I was an artist and I could draw things. I would love to know what they look like. It
Most of
feels so
the
good.
Again, if you saw them, most of the archangels I see around me look like 8-foot praying mantises. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
also Archangel Michael looks like a combination of a moose and a horse. He's got a wide head. He doesn't have antlers, but he's got this big wide head with floppy ears. He's got these big brownish, reddish looking eyes, but very dark fur all over him. And then his body is long like horse-like body, but very short hair.
Oh my
He doesn't look
goodness.
like what you think.
And how do they identify themselves to you?
Again, by touch.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I get touches all the time, and sometimes I get a new touch, and when I get a new touch, they will tell me a name that goes along with that as well.
Okay. And you hear
Yeah.
it or it's in your mind?
Absolutely. When it's absolutely another voice, but also a part of me as well as my own thoughts. So to the point now that I still will check with them and say, "Did you just say that?" But thought comes into my mind, even though it feels like it's mine. I know it's not
Right,
anymore.
right.
Never been
I'm so
anymore.
glad that you mentioned the "we can't pronounce" because I've had a few, not archangels, but angels, it's try to convey a name to me, and it's like, I can't it's like,
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, well, even their names are more like a more of a sound vibration thing, and
Yes.
that's why we cannot pronounce their
I
names.
feel
But
so validated right now, Daniel, thank you.
oh,
Such
you're welcome.
I'm such a newbie to this mediumship thing.
I am as well. I didn't know I was a medium until almost 8.5 years ago.
No way.
Yeah, right
Okay.
before I was turning 50 years old. I'm 58 now. I turned
Oh my
58 back in
gosh.
November, but yeah, but this happened. I've had this, I've seen spirit my entire life, and I've heard things, and I smell things a lot. And sometimes something comes through, and it comes through as a taste, and the taste part, you don't want that. Okay, yeah, that's usually the negative energies because I don't just see good ones. I see everything. I see
Yes.
everything. I
We
see people, dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish, other beings from other worlds.
we're
I
gonna get
see
to
into
that.
other dimensions. Yeah, everything.
We are definitely gonna get to that because
Yeah.
I'm
This
curious
might
about
be a
that.
two-parter.
It might be, except I have to end at this 3D world has time, which is
Yeah,
so annoying,
we could
but
do it again. No
I
big
would
deal.
love to because I don't find that I connect with negative energies as much. One time I did, but I'm curious about folks who do connect with them / work with them, etc. I'd love to know, but I want to start with before this. So you're a
Yeah,
kid, you're seeing things, your family's seeing things, and it was just kind of how it was. You didn't know that you were
correct.
a medium, but that didn't stop for you. You
No, ever.
continued seeing spirits and things. Did you ever do anything thing with it? Like, was it a fun party trick or like what?
No, but I had a friend who was moving into a new apartment, and he had something going on in that apartment, and he called me up and asked me if I would come over and take a look around for him. So people
Aha.
more or less relied on me because I would sense things, but unknowingly, again, didn't know I was a medium. I could pick up on things. I mean, but the only other thing other than that was I was great for telling great ghost stories because
Uh-huh.
I had a lot of them.
Yes, for sure.
Now I have them every day.
Yes, a lot more, so thousands and thousands of stories, I'm sure.
Yeah, for me, it's like being in a room with 1,000 people, except no one leaves and more just keep coming in, and that's every single day of my life.
Oh my
Never
gosh.
turns off and never goes
Are
away.
you an extrovert?
Well, maybe I was an artist. Well, I used to play drums in a rock band.
That's right.
I had big hair and I had wore zebra striped spandex. I thought it was cool, maybe not so much, but yeah, that was back in the '80s. But yeah, I can't do it anymore because I'm physically not able to do it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. So people knew this about you. They knew that you could see spirits. They knew that you could detect what's there. Did you ever directly work with spirits?
no, not at that point.
Okay.
No, I
And
just
is
had a lot of stories because I had a lot of instances that would happen to me or around me.
yeah.
Like, even when I was playing in the band, I came home, I was in my 20s, like 22 or 23. I came home and I laid down in bed from a gig, and something laid down next to me,
Yeah.
and this happened like 3 or 4 times, and I'd roll over to see what was there, and I'd see the pillow just squish down and the whole bed would move, and like the 5th time I rolled over to see what was there, and whatever was there picked up the blanket that I had on top of me and brought it up to the ceiling, and it shook it over top of me, and then it dropped it on top of me. And then for 2 years after that, I slept on the couch downstairs because I was scared like you wouldn't believe.
That was scary to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So could sense that that is maybe a malevolent kind of energy or
No, it
okay.
was just trying to get my attention.
It
Not
was.
but it wasn't attention that I cared for at the moment.
Nope.
That's all,
Nope.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, you don't want to do that, especially when you're trying to sleep. But I would also there was one time I was in my grandfather lived with my mom and dad and he was away for 2 weeks with my uncle, and then I was laying in his room looking at old pictures of my grandmother who had passed away 2 years prior to that, and I kept hearing a noise, and I kept sitting up, looking around, seeing what was there, and there was nothing there. And then one time I sat up, and when I did, my grandma was in the chair, rocking chair, rocking back and forth.
Oh my, you
And
could
I could
see
see her as
her.
plain as day. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. That's
yeah. She
amazing.
saw me. When she saw me, her eyes got real big and then she disappeared.
Oh. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes I see them full figured like that, and sometimes I just see energy or other, I would say, globs of energy. My
Yeah.
girlfriend at the time we were watching TV, and she was at the end of the bed, and I was watching from the headboard part of it,
Yep.
and as we were watching TV, something about maybe 4 feet long, maybe about 2 feet wide, snaked its way out of the closet and came across the room, and then got all the way across the room and then disappeared, and then she turned around at me and said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah, let's
Oh.
get the heck out of here." So,
Oh, she saw it
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but even now, people witness things around me all the time, specifically that are happening around me. Like, I've been on other podcasts or other shows, and they'll see something, a little ball of energy go around right into my head and disappear, or flying around me all the time, or they see flashes of light go off around me. That's a
Mhm.
different story. That would take me a chunk of time to tell you, but it has to do with the reason why I am who I am, what I have, the connection that I have,
Yeah.
everything. And why
Okay.
I see everything that I see.
Okay. And you have since you were little. So I wonder if those balls of light and everything have been around you since 3 or so. But
It's been with me so even when I was finding out I was a medium, I had a paranormal group come over to my house
yeah.
because we were having so much come around me. I was seeing green and red mist pouring out of the walls and skeletons, 7-foot skeletons walking around the house and skulls coming out of the walls with the red eyes and fangs and all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff and clouds around me all the time. My wife was seeing clouds around me all the time.
Yeah.
And when these people came over, they took some, like, pictures of me, like digital photos of me, and they would take a picture of me next to somebody or somebody else in the house, and when this was all going on, and every time I took a picture of me, I had 15 or 20 light orbs completely surrounding me. If it was somebody else by themselves, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. I love when science can validate that way.
Oh, yeah, they turned on that voice box thing that they
Yeah.
call it an obulus. They had me pretending to sleep in my room because so much happened in my bedroom. So I was laying there and they turned on the box, and then as soon as they turned on the box, it started spitting out words. It said Wendy, Michael, Paul, Helen, unique, special, light, energy. One time it said the word road like a street. It said road. When it did that, a car went past the house. And then they were asking questions, but they asked questions for 10 minutes. And through those 10 minutes, every time they asked a question, it immediately answered. But the thing was, as like one of the questions they asked, they said, "Are you here to harm Daniel?" And then that computer voice came through and said, "No, we are not here to harm Daniel. We love Daniel. We love Daniel's light. Daniel is the light."
Oh
When it
my
said Daniel
gosh.
is the light, that's when I was freaking out because I was like, "What the heck's going on here?" But when they got done that session, they went outside of the room, and then I got up and went out, and then they were all huddled up, and I said to them, I said, "My wife, what's going on?" She's like, "I don't know, something important." So they turn around, and I was like, I was excited because these people were here witnessing what my wife and I were now witnessing, and it validated the fact that my wife and I were not crazy
Yes.
because there was so much going on. It would it would drive you crazy. I
Mhm.
again, but, so and then I said, "So you got all that, right? That was great. You heard all that." And they were like, "Well, yeah, Mr. Jackson, but there's an issue." And I was like, "Issue? There wasn't anything wrong with it. It wasn't anything bad." And he said, "No, it's not that, but whenever we use this box, we turn it on, we can get it to say a word or two." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, it never says sentences,
Yep.
and it doesn't say sentences for 10 minutes straight.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We gotta figure this out." So yeah, I mean, I get it, but I never heard from them ever again because apparently by the time they got on my front lawn when they were leaving, they broke up. I tried to
Oh,
get a hold of them, and the guy said, "We don't get that kind of information from one home. It takes 10 or 15 homes to get that kind of information." So
yeah.
I said, "When you coming back?" He said, "We're not coming back." I said, "How about you?" He said, "Nah, I don't feel comfortable coming in your home." But,
Wow.
I
Holy
mean, they
moly.
but they taught me a bunch of stuff that is just not real either, like, "Oh, well, put some salt around the room." You know what that does? It
Hmm.
makes your room salty, okay? Or here, he gave me this bottle of water. I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh, it's holy water." You know what it is? Water. You can't bless water. No one can. Okay, or don't put crosses up. I mean, the cross I'll say it, the cross is a form of punishment. It just is, he didn't ask to be on it. And he wasn't the first to be on it or the last to be
Mm-mm.
on it. So they use it as a form of punishment. How are you gonna make something negative go away with a form of punishment?
Mhm.
You're not.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're not.
But
So
I'm curious about why they
positive
thought
energy does it.
I'm curious why they thought your home needed to be blessed or you needed to be protected. This sounds very benign. They loved you. You're the
Um,
light.
y y you just said the word, correct.
Yeah. Why did they
That's why
think
I see everything because 'cause I'm the light.
I wonder why they thought that you needed protection. That's so odd.
Because I have everything around me.
Hmm.
Not everything is good.
Oh, okay, okay. So they detected perhaps some not good things, which is where I'd like
Oh,
to
sure.
go. But first, can we talk about 8 years ago
Yeah.
when you decided or you realized I'm a medium? What happened?
I didn't even realize it. After the episode with those people, I was searching. I was searching for answers.
Yeah.
I was going out and trying to find an answer. Even like the basis of my book is, if you're going through something in your life that you can't figure out, even if it's not something like me, or you being a medium, if you're having any problem, go out and find your people. So that's what I did. I went out and tried to find some people who could give me some answers. I ended up talking to 5 mediums. None of them knew each other, but every one of them told me the same story about me. It was one of them in particular when I went to her. She said she wanted me to come to her show. She said, "I need you to come to my show because I want you to see how I do it." I was like, "Do what?" I was just a guy who saw ghosts all day long. I mean, what are you going to show me? So I went to the show. My wife and I walked in the door. There was about 50, 60 people in there. And when we walked in the door, she was standing on the stage talking to people, and she just went like this and then watched me go through the room and sit down in the chair. And my wife looks at me and says, "That was creepy." And I said, "Yeah, I don't know what's up with that." And she said, "Did you tell her you were coming?" I said, "No." I said I was gonna come, but I just bought tickets and here we are, so she doesn't know I was coming to this show. So she ends up telling everybody how she does everything, and then she instructs the crowd to do certain things, don't cross your legs, don't cross your arms. That stuff doesn't make a difference. Energy is energy. It's gonna come through, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and then she ends up reading 8 people in the room, one of them being me. She told me about a guy who came through who fell down, and that's the way he passed away, and he wore business suits and flannel shirts during the day and at home, and someone else had to make the big decision for him to pass away, and he went by the name his name was Robert, but he goes by the name Bob.
Okay.
And I said, I she didn't pick me out specifically, she was just saying, "Does anybody have that?"
Oh.
And I said, "Yeah." I said, "My name's Daniel Jackson, and my dad's name is Robert, but he goes by Bob. He wears flannel shirts and T-shirts, but he does wear a business suit. He did fall down. That was the basis of how he died. When he fell down, was going up a flight of steps, and it moved his brainstem when he hit. And then someone else did have to pull the plug. And she said, "Who's Sarah?" And I said, "Oh, my niece." She said, "No, Sarah, the one who had to make the big decision to pull the plug." I said, "Oh, that's my mom. Her name is Joan. Her middle name is Sarah."
Mm.
So at that point, I knew this was really taking place. But it was at the end that I went down and I introduced myself to her, and she said, "Oh, you're the guy I talked to on the phone the other couple weeks ago." I said, "Yeah, that's me." And she said then she talked to me like I'm 7 years old and I'm a kid in class, and she says, "Don't move, don't go anywhere, stay here, wait till everybody leaves, you and I need to have a talk." And I was like, "Oh, crap," I mean,
Yeah.
what did I do,
I'm in
So
trouble.
yeah, I'm in trouble, but she said to me, she says, "I know you have an ability to see spirit." She said, "But," I said the same thing. I said, "Ladies, like being in a room with 1,000 people, if nobody leaves and more just keep coming in." And she was like, "Yeah, but there's a reason why." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "Oh, they're coming to you." I said, "Why would they be coming to me?" She said, "Oh, because and as I know, when spirit sees you, they don't see your full body. They see your frame and they see a light inside of you, okay?
Mm.
And when they see that light inside of you, that's your soul, okay? Some of us have a soul that's brighter than others. And the ones that have a brighter soul, other souls know that they can communicate with those. That's
Mhm.
why we're mediums, okay? But we're mediums because God gave us this, okay? Pretty simple. But not everybody get it because, as I always tell everyone, some of us are just meant to be teachers.
Mm.
Others are just meant to be students. You either have this or you don't. You're not going to school. You're not going to college. You're not going to take a class or an intuition class and automatically think you're going to become a psychic medium. It doesn't work that way. You have an ability because you were born with it, but you don't have an ability to be a psychic medium. Okay. You can use it a little bit, but you're not just going to go, "Oh, psychic medium." No, it doesn't work that way.
Mm.
You are chosen for this. So she says, "They're coming to you. And that's why you're seeing so many." She said, "I saw you come into the room." She said, "I could feel you on the outside of the room. And when you walked into the room, I see you like they see you." And
Mm.
I was like, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "I don't see a body. All I see is like you look like a figure of a human, but you're just pure white light. Like looking at a light bulb that's walking and has a
Mm.
head and legs, but you're just solid white." I said, "Okay." I said, "What's that supposed to mean?" She said, "Oh, they're coming to you because they believe that you're the light into heaven."
Mm.
She wasn't kidding.
Mhm.
That's why they come to me.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
is that when you said, "I need to be doing this work?" Or like,
I didn't know what to think. I was
yeah.
still dumbfounded. I said, "Okay, so what am I supposed to do with that?" And she said, "Well, you need to have a talk with God to see if you're gonna move forward with this or not." And I said, "Move forward with
With
what?
what?
What are you talking about?" She said, "Oh, Daniel, you're just an untrained medium. You just have to decide if you're actually gonna be that and do what he wants you to do or not."
Yeah.
And I said, "Who wants me to do it?" Said, "God.
Yeah.
What do you think you have this for? He gave it to you. He
Mm.
wants you to do something with it. Then why do you think all this is happening for you right now? Because he's trying to wake you up to do something with it."
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
you're like a rock star in your 20s. You ride a motorcycle. Did you ride a Harley? I can't remember.
Well, no, I didn't start riding bikes until I was in my mid-30s, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
have
doing
2
all
I
these
have
other earthly things, and now you're
yes.
being told, "You are the light." That's why all
Oh,
these
I'm just like people. I mean, I'm still here to do human things,
Yeah,
but I'm here to do something more.
yeah. So then
That's all.
what happens next? So you decide, "Okay, I'm gonna do
So
this."
my wife and I, we drive home and we're talking about this, and because we're both kind of freaked out by this. I mean, she was there witnessing it, so everybody else witnessed it. When she started talking about me, everybody in the room just kind of shut up. It was kind of strange, but yeah, that everybody left, and so that was just a strange conversation. My wife and I go home, and I said, "So I'm supposed to go in the bedroom or just somewhere and talk to God, and I guess maybe I'll just turn out the lights or something." And then I said to my wife, I said, "This is hard." I said, "How do I talk to God?" And my wife is very good at putting things into perspective with me, and she said, "How do you talk to him any other time? You just do.
Mm,
That's what we should all feel we do. We don't need a middleman
mhm,
to do that for us. We can just talk to him. He's our Father. I mean,
mhm.
so why not talk to him?" I said, "All right." So I went into the room. I turned out the lights. I sat on the bed, and it just kind of went like this. I said, "God, I mean, Father, whatever would you like me to call you? I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll if you want me to help these spirit or these ghosts or whatever it is, I'll help them. If you want me to help people, I'll do whatever it is you want me to do. I'll do it 110%. I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'll be whatever you want me to be. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Because I need to find answers because I don't know what I'm doing here.
Mhm, mhm.
I just don't." I mean, I was literally just saying, I'm at rock bottom here. I don't know what to do. So if you'll help me, I'll do it for you. I
Mm,
will do it for you. I'll do it for these souls. I'll do it for people.
mhm.
I'll do whatever you want me to do. So then I got done. Stood up. I walked out of the room. I told my wife, I said, "Okay,
It's
I
done.
did it. We'll see what happens." The very next day, everything changed.
Oh
I
gosh.
mean, very next day, I stopped seeing a lot of this, what people would consider scary stuff because, I mean, I see everything that was going on in my house is everything you've ever seen in a scary movie happening in my home
Mm,
or wherever I was at.
yeah.
So, and that point, it started fading away, and it took a little while, but it actually all went away. And then everything else came, seeing everything, but
Hmm.
seeing it all the time, but seeing archangels, seeing them around me, seeing lying in bed and seeing these bluish white lights coming up out of the floor. And even though you look down, you can't see where exactly they're coming from, and they're going through the ceiling, and then seeing them completely surrounding me. But then the training part came in,
Yeah.
and that was nobody wants it.
Mm,
When I talk to people who say they communicate or work with or have been touched by angels, I ask them a few questions. And once they answer those questions, I tell them, "Yeah, stop telling people you're doing that because 'cause you're not doing it. Because you
mm.
have no clue of what you're doing and who you're talking to because you're not experiencing the things that would actually take place." So, when archangels are preparing me to be able to see them, hear them, feel them, communicate with them better, they started touching me on my arms and body, all over me. I'd feel these cold little touches all over me,
Mhm.
and this would be at nighttime. I'd see them all around me. I'd see a circle of them all around me, bright white lights around me, and all these little things flying around and just amazing. What's that movie, the alien movie where you see all the beautiful tree of life and all that stuff,
Oh,
and
I may not have seen it.
yeah.
Don't know.
Anyway, so beautiful colors, just rainbowish, beautiful colors everywhere surrounding me in my room. And then they start with all the touching,
Mm,
and it's beautiful, and it's all cold touches, and I'm hearing things and seeing things, and then the very next day, I wake up, and I'm throwing up and crapping everywhere
mhm.
for 3 or 4 hours, okay?
Mhm.
And this is going on, and then I will heal up from that, and then once I heal up from it, they'll do it again 2 weeks later,
Mm.
and that went on for 3 years.
That's like an initiation of some kind?
That is a purging of the system. That is a purging. They were working on my soul that I can see them, hear them, feel them, communicate with them better. But because the soul is connected to the body, it was a purging of the body. It was a clearing of the body. Because as I always tell everyone, in order to get clear messages, you must be clear. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't
Mhm.
do drugs. No tattoos because they tell me no tattoos. No CBD. Nothing. They
Mhm.
had to clear me so I could get clear messages, but also so I could see, hear, feel, communicate, and clearly with everything
Mhm.
because I witnessed everything. Even last night, as I was going to bed last night, I keep my bedroom completely blackened out. I saw the parade. The parade is I see the parade of all the spirit that have not crossed over into the light, and I see them. I see thousands of them standing there, like I mean, not just like 1,000, like hundreds of thousands standing there, walking. I can see the parade from coming, like what looks like to me like 20 miles away, just snaking its way. And it's just a parade of people, like 1,000 people wide, just walking down the street. But I know they're walking to nowhere because where they are, there's nowhere to go except you just keep going. And these people are just there because they just made a choice for themselves of not walking into the light. So I communicate with them and I get them to cross over into the light. And even the
Uh-huh.
very first time it happened for me, it just it just came out of my mouth. I didn't even know where it came from because it's like I'm standing on a balcony and I'm looking down and I'm seeing them. They see me.
Yeah.
They walk past. I see them doing this all the time. And but last week I saw a couple people like in the line. One of them looked back at another person like that, was talking to them, and then went like this and was pointing up at me, and then went like this and was talking back to them. So they see me,
Mhm.
but and they know what I am. They know what. But then when I was talking to them that very first time, it just said, "Walk up to the light, move into the light, and pass through the light, and you shall be received into heaven as one of God's children." Because God wants all of His children to come home. It's time to go home, children. And it just came out of my mouth, and I was like, where the heck did that come from?
Mhm. Mhm.
What is going on here? So,
Mhm.
yeah, but now I just do it on a regular basis, and I see them every night.
Yeah.
But I sometimes I'll see them in the parade, or sometimes I'll just see a bunch of them standing in front of me, but I
Okay.
don't see just people. Like I said, dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish, everything.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I don't care what these other shows are going to say, or all these other people are going to say. There is no such thing as a rainbow bridge. There just isn't. You
Uh-huh.
don't just automatically go into heaven. You go because it's a choice, but there's all these other people who don't go because they don't know where to go. Or they have
Mhm.
been taught that they're going to be judged or they're going to go to some place called hell that doesn't exist. Or there's going to be some guy there named Satan who's going to come in and torture you. He doesn't exist. Or maybe somebody walking around with horns and a tail, but that's just because that's what he looks like, where he comes from. That's all it is, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
not
yeah.
everything you see is a monster, but they just look different as we look different, everybody. Aliens are just alien to us. That's all. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's everything there. And I see everything there. And then I talk to them and I try to get them to cross over. But not everybody wants to cross over either. So, because they're just
Right.
comfortable with where they are. But
I just did an interview with somebody whose granny is exactly that. She loves being near her family, so she stays in the astral. It's so fascinating.
yeah.
So what you're saying is free will. Free will still exists in or out of a body. We
Yeah, but the
can
problem is free will. Is free will is not free. At some point, you're going to pay for it.
How so?
Well, because you're either going to walk into the light or you're not. And if you don't walk into the light, if you stay in that what we call low energy or earthbound realm, whatever age you died, you'll stay that age forever. But forever
Okay.
is not going to last for very long because I know differently. Because again, I communicate with archangels. So when I'm
Yeah.
communicating with archangels, the answers I'm getting are coming from God. I've
Yeah.
seen him 8 times, he's touched me 8 times and talked to me 8 times.
Mm,
Doesn't look like what you think he does,
mm.
but yeah, you will stay there, that age, forever. So if you die at 89, not that you're, like, all that bad, but you are in a way, because why are you there? Because you still have your pain, your anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish, all that
Ah,
stuff,
that's
everything,
the
and
payment.
then you have all those other bad ones that are there. It is not the best place to be. And those bad ones need negative energy in order for them to continue to survive where they are, because if
Mm.
there's energy that there, I see it all the time flowing like little bands of like rivers of energy. They have to walk up. All spirit have to walk up and get in that, and they go into like a dream state where they're like, and they close their eyes and collect it, and then they come out of it and they're like, because if they don't collect it when they're walking around, it's like what we feel when we're walking around when we're nauseous.
Mm.
So they have to collect it, but the negative ones need a lot more. And if they can't get
Okay.
it from those who chose to stay there enough, they come here and get it.
Hey everyone, do you love the Reluctant Medium podcast and want to support the podcast while getting some amazing perks in return? Join us at the Patreon community. By becoming a Patreon supporter, you'll get access to exclusive content, behind the scenes insights, early episode releases, and a whole ton more. As a member, you'll also have access to spiritual content like guided meditations, in-depth discussions on mediumship, and exclusive interviews with spiritual experts. It's a great way to show your love and stay even more connected with myself and the show. Sign up today at patreon.com/thereluctantmedium and help the Reluctant Medium keep bringing you the content that you love. I wholeheartedly appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you on Patreon soon. I alluded to this before, but I really wanted to talk about that negative energy stuff because
Oh, I've seen the worst of the worst. There's no devil. They're all in it for themselves. They don't care about one guy. There's not one guy controlling everybody. They all do it for themselves.
Okay, cool. If you can so I'm going to give you a scenario, and
Sure.
I would love to know your thoughts on
I've
this.
got a couple more that are worse.
I'm sure
'Cause
you
I
have
don't ever
plenty
not see
because
them
I don't
either.
connect with lower vibration.
You don't want to.
Good.
You don't want to. I'm telling you. I mean, even other mediums out there.
Yeah,
You don't want to see what I see. You just don't.
I'm
telling you.
curious about this. So, because I consider it specialty work, right? It's like it's just not my specialty, but I talk to
Yeah, but this specialty is like turning on the worst horror movie you've ever seen, but you're not going to actually see this horror movie because they won't show it on TV or movies because it's that bad, and it won't turn off and it won't go away until it's time that it's going to actually stop. And for me, that's how it is.
So this scenario is not like the worst horror movie. It's like a whisper, it sounds like, of what you experience. But I'm curious about motivation, right? So like I am a spirit baby medium and I was prepping to do some work with somebody, and a soul came into my awareness that said that he was this future client's son, her baby. And so I started to say, oh, hi, what are you doing? And then I just noticed, no, you're actually not a baby.
Discernment.
Yeah, like why
you.
are you here? And
Glad you picked up.
I just immediately, cleansed my space, and he just wasn't welcome. I said, you need to go. But I'm curious about, because I don't work with those kinds of energies, I'm curious about why. What's the motivation? Why come into a scenario like that? Why pretend to be, sure there are countless reasons, but
well, the old saying is the religious old saying that, the people who want to tell you how to live your life the way they want you to live and give them 10%, those people, they want you to believe in this devil guy. And what do they say about the devil? Oh, the devil is a liar. So that means whatever he's telling you actually could be a lie. Or, there could be another negative energy lying to you who's also telling you he's the devil as well, and so on and so on and so on. But yeah. Why do they do it? Because they want you to produce fear. Because the moment that you produce fear, now they can collect that from you.
It's energy for them.
That's the only reason. They are what I call energy vampires. They need negative energy, and the worst negative energy you can have is fear. And if they can put that into your mind, into your heart, and make you feel it, you are now a human smorgasbord. You are a buffet of negative energy for them to collect, and then they will stay around you. You want to go to the worst places in the world to get some fear or the worst negative energy in the world? Mm-hmm. Go to church, because everybody there is trying to prove to the other person, I'm a better Christian than you are. Negativity, right? So yeah, that's why they want to do it. Whatever they can do to make you do that, make you have that fear come out of you, or those negative thoughts, or depression, or maybe if they talk to you enough and make you feel so bad, maybe you'll start drinking and doing drugs and all that stuff. What is that? That's all negative energy. That is them doing that so that they can collect that energy off you. And they will suck that energy off you, but again, giving you a little bit at the same time so you'll continue to produce it for them. That's why they do it.
Okay.
They don't want that. They're not going to kill you. They don't want you to die specifically, because they need to collect energy off of you. They need your fear. And then maybe when it is for you to die, hopefully you'll choose not to walk into the light. You'll stay there, and then they collect it off you then too, because they still got you.
Okay. Interesting.
That's all about that.
Well, it didn't work for that soul.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Like, I'm
and
out.
the best way to make any negative energy go away. As I say this all the time, you can place all the sacred geometry tattoos all over you all you want. You can wave all the sage and cedar you want, all that stuff. You can do all kinds of things. You can put crystals around your house. That's all illusionary tools that are not going to help you. You have to do the work. You
Mm.
have to exit the people who are in your life who are horrible, and exit yourself from all the situations. Exit yourself from all the negative places, watching all the negative stuff like politics and sports and all this stuff. It's not none of it is helping you. It is a distraction. You have to exit yourself from that in order to be clear, so that these things will not come and bother you. But
Mhm.
but the only thing that you can do to make them go away is by putting out positive energy, by being the best version of
Mhm.
you that you can be, and helping other people to do that, which in turn is helping you because
Yeah.
it's positive.
Yeah.
They don't wanna be around that. It's like 2
Mhm.
magnets, they can't hold the same space, so they only wanna be around negativity, and if you're not putting out negativity, but if they can come through and try to convince you into do it, I mean, sometimes you'll feel that. You'll feel a heaviness around you, or you feel like a heaviness on your weight, on your shoulders, or something like that, and all that stuff. But I automatically tell people, you start feeling that, start thinking about kitty cats and puppy dogs and ice cream. Because
Yay.
the moment you do that and you
Or
think about
french
good
fries.
things, they're gonna go away. They don't want anything to do with you. But
Yeah.
if you're I mean, a lot of people have these problems with all these negative energies in their homes, but what they don't tell you about that story is the ghost story is the reason they're in there is because those people are a piece of crap because they walk around and, "Oh, I hate everybody and I hate the world," stuff like that. When you do that, you're inviting them.
Aha, the fears, they feed on it.
Absolutely. The fear, the
Yeah.
meanness, the cruelty,
Yes,
the
yes.
horribleness that they are walking around. I mean,
Yeah.
when I say someone's a piece of crap, I'm not judging them. That's just me telling the truth that they're a piece of crap because they're walking around being a piece of crap.
Uh-huh.
Because why? Because they choose to be that way. You know
Mm.
what they could do? They could choose differently.
They
But if they're
could.
not going to choose differently, well, then don't go
Yeah.
see this person because they're a piece of crap.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
I
it's
don't
like.
know what
That's
happened with that particular scenario, but I will tell you that just
I just
about
went away.
well, that soul did, but just about just 3 minutes or so, minutes before this person and I were supposed to meet, she emailed me and said, "I'm so sorry, something terrible has happened and I have to cancel last minute." And I never
Uh,
heard from her again. So I don't know what happened. It's very sad, but I want to
you were the
secure.
middleman, and when so I'm asking,
Mhm.
and instead of going to you, now they just went directly to her.
Ah, okay. Yep. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, so sad. It's
Yeah.
awful, but I'm
Yeah,
glad
but
that
as we know as practitioners, you can't help everybody.
nope, no, obviously not. No,
No,
I
but
wanted
you
to save the world at one point, but, yeah, it's
yeah.
it got
Well,
exhausting.
you are part of that. You are here to do that, but we're all
Mhm,
here to do that in little ways where we're trying to get everybody as we can to do that because it's got to
mhm.
start somewhere, and why not start here? So you're helping to do that your little piece at a time as well as we're doing. But your little piece just got bigger because now you're on a new reality TV
Yep,
and you're going to be broadcasting to everywhere else as well as I am to
yes.
try to wake the society up to get them to understand. I mean, my show, Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, that's how I started, is more of, again, making them aware of things. I'm not a coach. I don't even though I do some coaching things, I don't consider myself a coach. I don't call myself psychic because when you say the word psychic, then you have people coming up to you and go, "What am I thinking now?" And I say, "I don't know what you're thinking now, but everyone else thinks you're a moron for
Mm,
asking a dumb question." But yeah, but we're here to wake everybody up, and we're here to do it in our own way. We're all a part of that pie, the big piece of pie. We're just all different slices, all
yeah,
working towards the same goal,
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah. Yes. So you have the TV show we both are on New Reality TV, and that's how we met. Yay. And
Yay!
Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, you have a book that's out.
I have a book. Yeah, my book
Als
is called Daniel Jackson: The New Beginning: My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. So
Yeah.
it goes through a chronological story from memories as far back as being a kid all the way up until right at that moment of becoming a medium, and
Yeah.
then some parts after that, like, it's got some of my favorite readings in there, but it tells all the stories of everything that I went through. I didn't hold anything well, there's some parts I actually did hold back that I didn't wanna put in the book because, again, the types of experiences I have,
Mhm.
it would turn it into a horror film, like a horror story, and I don't
Mhm.
want that. I want people to get the positive message that came out of the book
Mhm.
and is continuing to come out, so, I just,
Right.
I see everything for everybody else that they don't wanna
Yeah.
see when I tell them about that stuff. Because I have people come up to me all the time, "Oh, Daniel, I wish I had your gift. I wish I had your ability." Once I explain some of the things, they
Mhm.
quickly retract that statement. They don't
Mhm.
want this. Not a
Yeah.
I see it all the time. It doesn't go away from me. I'm always being touched, poked, pinched all the time, all day by spirit. I see them all day. I don't ever not see them. In a sense, like I know is that a real background or you have
Yeah.
one of those virtual? Okay.
It's yeah.
So what color are those shelves behind you?
What color?
Sure.
Brown?
Okay, to you they're brown. To me, they're not brown. I see them as being brown, but I also see a mist of blue in those shelves. I see a mist of blue in the leaves and everything. I see a mist of blue inside of your complexion, everything about you, even in your beautiful white teeth. I
I am
see a mist
blue.
of blue in everything, and that mist of blue that I see is the veil. It never turns off for me. It's just when I start concentrating in it, then I start seeing everything that's in it, and that's during the daytime. At
Okay.
nighttime or when I close my eyes, then
Yeah.
I see everything.
And does blue or colors have meaning for you?
Yeah, well, blue is the color of energy. When I see
Blue
those
is
beings,
energy.
everything there in that low energy realm, they are all their complexion is blue. Everything has like a tinge of blue to it. But and the funny thing about it is people don't know is when I see spirit, they all have clothes on. Why? Because they are all pure energy. They can manipulate themselves in order to do that, as well as negative energies can manipulate themselves to look even more horrible to scare you. But yeah, they manipulate themselves wearing clothes because they can do that, but yeah, they all have a tinge of blue. But in that place, the place that I see, that's not blue, that's black because there's nothing there. It's
Mm.
nothingness.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, that's the lowest of it's low energy, that's all.
And so what you do now is you have a show, a TV show, and a podcast. You do readings? You do
Yeah,
private readings?
I do readings with people. Again, the only time I'll look into them to see their soul is because sometimes the soul gets crooked inside of the body that the person has now caused because they are stressing themselves out. And when they stress themselves out, it causes a movement of the soul within the body, which also affects the body. And that's why they have certain I found that out because I had two friends of mine over at my house with my wife and I, both mediums that I met in this group of mediums who helped me to develop what I have now.
Mhm.
And, subsequently, they all come to me for answers because they know who the hell I'm talking to.
Mm.
But one of the girls was sitting there in front of me, and when I was talking to her and her mom was there because she's also a medium and never talked to my wife. And I just happened to turn around and look at her. When I did, I looked into her back, and when I did, I saw a face in her back, and I immediately turned around like this and started talking to them in my mind because I didn't want them to know what the hell was going on because it's kinda crazy. And I said, "Am I seeing her soul?" And then they touched me and said, "Yes," and I hear, "Yes," and I was like, "But it looks like there's a deviation in there or something, like, around by her shoulder." I said, "Is that what I'm seeing?" And I heard, "Yes." And I was like and then I just had this overwhelming feeling, and I said, "Oh, can I fix that?" And they said, "Yes." I said, "How do I do that?" And then they told me, and I was like
Nice.
a voice, and I said, "Okay, we want you to ask her if it's okay, and then we want you to put your hands on her shoulders, close your eyes, concentrate." And then they said, as they always say a lot, "And just watch." And I was like, "Okay." So I asked her name was Miriam. I said, "Miriam," I said, "Are you having a problem today? Are you not feeling good? I mean, do you have a pain in your left shoulder?" And she was like, "Oh my god, Daniel." She said, "My shoulder is killing me." She said, I wasn't even gonna come today, but mom said, as she always said, "We gotta go see Daniel because you know how his energy is. He'll make you feel better." And she said, "I feel a little bit better, but still, I got this headache and my shoulder's killing me." I said, "Well, I can see your soul inside of you, and it's got a little deviation in it, but they're telling me I can fix it. Do you mind if I do that?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, okay." I mean, because they never know with me, because I always got something new happening. So I said, "Alright." So I stood up and did like a little Mr. Miyagi and
Mhm.
warmed my hands up for her, because I have really cold hands. And I said, "Okay, now sit still, here we go." And I put my hands on her shoulder, and when I did, she just went,
Oh
and I was
gosh.
like, "Oh, Christ, here we go. Sorry, buddy. No, just kidding." And then I closed my eyes, and then I see little balls of energy. Now I can still see my arms with my eyes closed, little balls of energy going through my arms, and she's moving like this, and she's like and then I said, "Alright, now hold on." I said, "I gotta move your soul back because it's crooked." And I move it back in place, and it looks at me and winks its eyes and smiles at me, and says and then it says, "Thank you." I mean, it says, "Thank you." So
That's
and then I
awesome.
said, "Okay, here we go." And I said, "Ready? I gave you a little bit extra. We're done." And she went,
Rolling the shoulder.
"My headache's gone.
Oh, it's so
Everything's
great.
gone. I feel better." She
That's
said,
so
"What do you
great.
call that?" I said, "I don't know." And I just went, "What do I call that?" And I heard, "Soul alignment." That's what I call it, soul alignment. She said,
I love it.
"You should add that to your card." I said,
Yep,
"I
there
guess
you
so."
go.
Yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
I
it just happens that way for me, so
in the
yeah.
beginning of today, you said that you had looked at my soul, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it crooked? What do you see?
See that? Has anyone ever told her that before? So she knows, or should she know? Has anyone ever mentioned the word starseed to you?
Yes,
You're not from here.
I believe that.
I don't wanna say it in this way, but I will, because our souls come back over our life here is being learning lessons, but fulfilling the purpose. That's what brings you back, not anything else. No,
Mhm,
it's not solely the lessons. It's because you haven't fulfilled the purpose, and the purpose is we are here to help each other just for the sake of helping, not because you can, but because you should in a way where you're gonna do something for someone they cannot physically do for themselves, or you're helping them to figure it out. Like, if you're helping you see a dog in the middle of the street and you go, "Oh, let me get that dog out of the street," or "Let me get it to its owner," it's little things like that. Or you're one of those people who says, "I ain't got time for that dog, I'm late for work." Well, if you're late for work, get up earlier. It's pretty simple. You're
mhm,
just lazy because people are spiritually lazy in this place. When you're doing little things like that,
mhm.
but we do it throughout our lives, but we don't do it enough. And why do we keep coming back? Because we don't do it enough, and he wants us to do it enough. Why? Because he wants us to do the true meaning of life. The true meaning of life is to love,
I'm
to take
game.
care of each other. That's what we're here to do. It's not all this, other the 7 deadly sins and all there's no such thing as sin. We are all created from God, from a part of him, which makes our soul a divine soul. Everyone is a divine soul, but religion doesn't want you to know that stuff, okay? But we're all here to love each other and to take
Mhm,
care of each other. And if we don't do that enough, that's why you keep coming back over and over and over again. You can regress to all the past lives you want to. That, you can regress to a past life 100 years ago, but you don't live the same life. If your life was so important of your previous lifetime to this one, if it was so important, you would have gotten it done and you wouldn't be here now. What do you have in common with the other 7.5 billion people on the face of this world, Maria? They've all been to heaven and they all had to come back, just
mhm.
like you. So what does that make everybody? Equal.
I'm cool with that.
No one's better than anyone else. We're all equal. So
Even star
you can do all the
seeds.
past life regression and all that stuff. That stuff is not going to help you. A life from 100 years ago is not going to help you to a life that has computers and police officers and criminals and all that stuff. The type of life we are living here and now.
Mhm,
You can learn the lessons from that and hopefully get through it. But I don't want to regress or digress to anything. I want to figure out what I got going on here
mhm.
because what's important is what you do here now, not 100 years ago. That's not important.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know there's people out there who believe in that stuff. And if they're doing work to help people, great, but help them for what they're
That's the
doing
point.
now.
That's the
Yes,
point.
you're here now
Well,
because you didn't get it right then.
yeah. Well, also, I'm not a quantum physicist, but they say it's all happening now anyway. It's all now. It's
Right,
all
everything
now.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're here now, so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's what we're here to do. We're here to take care of each other, but yeah, you are here now because the other times of where you were, you were
Mhm.
not able to get it correct there, so you came to the learning planet.
Great. Let's get it
But
done.
every single time that you've been alive, you've had this.
Visibility?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and,
Jeez.
let me see, let me ask how many times there. 4. So in the other place that you were at, you were there only 4 times.
At the
Here,
Mhm.
but here, you've been here 28 times.
I'm not shocked.
Meaning you've had 27 other sets of moms and dads, brothers and sisters, dogs and cats,
Mhm.
and 27, I'm gonna say this 'cause I know people they're not gonna like this when I say this, but 27 other astrological signs. I mean, absolutely horse crap because your body's born, your soul is not, and your soul is not born under stars. Stars have nothing to do with that non-physical being. It just
Oh,
doesn't.
that's a cool
It just doesn't.
perspective.
It just doesn't. I mean, the original calendar was 5 months long, then 9, then 10, and then 12. And then so what did you actually have? You have 5 signs, and then you had 4 more created, and then 1 more created, and then 2 more created. So here's astrology. You ready? This is a bunch of people standing around looking up the stars going, "Oh, if I connect the dots, it makes a fish." No, it doesn't. Because why do only 12 signs have something to do with the other billions? The other gazette, you know how many universes and all that stuff? I mean, really? No, I mean, if you were born on the other side of Pluto, would you see the same stars as I do? No, you wouldn't.
And
You
they're
are connected to God, and we are all connected to Him and each other. Everything. That's where the connection is.
yeah.
Not a bunch of stars up in the sky. Oh, I'm a Sagittarius. Whatever. You're born. Your soul chooses the body it's coming into, knows exactly when it's coming in. So what does that
Yes.
have to do with a bunch of stars and planets?
Ooh.
Nothing.
I would love to be in this is what's gonna happen, Daniel. I am going to pop a bowl of popcorn and put you in a room with an astrologist. And I wanna hear a beautiful
Oh, well,
conversation.
I've had that conversation already. I do a show up in Tucson. I had that conversation
Oh, I
with
missed
her.
it.
Yeah, yeah, you know what she did? Walked away
Oh.
because she had nothing to say.
It's
That's what I do.
fascinating stuff.
Unfortunately, I have to do that. I'm the person that has to put some people in their place because they need to be told that numerology. Really, come on. There's just so much. You're a soul.
Yeah.
You don't have a soul. You are a soul, and you're here living the human experience to
Yeah.
try to get along with each other and try to figure
Yeah.
out because we all live on the same planet. No one's going anywhere anytime soon. So we
Mhm.
better start to get along with each other before we annihilate each
Yes,
other.
can we?
We need to take
Can we
care of each
please?
other.
Can we please?
Love.
Also, part of being human is inquiring around these kinds of things too. So everybody listening,
Correct.
please use your discernment and
Right,
move
but
toward
distracting yourself with a bunch of stars and what month you were born on, which day and what time
No.
and all that stuff. No, it's a distraction.
Well, I have to tell you, Daniel, I'm a little bit addicted to crystals, though. I have to tell you that.
Well,
Yes.
crystals can help you, but crystals are not going to get you free of negativity. Crystals
No.
are going to maintain that, and that's what we have to do.
I love them. I love them.
It's energy. Energy is energy.
please
None of my
don't-
table here has energy.
I
in it.
don't want to get rid of my crystals.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
right. Well, you know what the difference is between you and me? Nothing. We're connected to each other. We're brother and sister. We're a brother and sister,
Everyone.
not only here, but there too, back at home, because this is not home.
Yeah.
We are here to learn things and learn these lessons and fulfill this purpose and get it done so we can all go home and stay home and go back to our home and be with Father. That's what we're here to do. But we got to get this done right.
Yeah. Well, Daniel,
You
thank
got a
you
lot
so
to do here.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to connecting again here and on New Reality TV. Everyone go to newrealitytv.com, watch our shows, Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson and The Reluctant Medium with Dr. Maria Rothenberger. Thanks so much for being here.
Be good. Don't do any stupid stuff.
Thank you for joining the Reluctant Medium podcast today. I hope that this episode has brought you beautiful, high vibration and that it continues emanating from your heart space for the rest of the day and beyond. Don't forget to join The Reluctant Medium on patreon.com, and you can also visit thereluctantmedium.us and the Reluctant Medium TV show on newrealitytv.com. Until next time, my friend, may you be well.